So, giving this a try, my name is Alex Ullman. I'm talking about Pauper, and we are going to talk about the blue-black Tron list I've been working on, which you can see right here once it loads. And let me get it sorted. You can tell I'm brand new to this because I am very slow. Also going to see if this will work by posting it to Twitter. And so here we go again. This is an UrzaTron powered blue-black control deck. It is really designed to try and make use of the powerful mana generated by Urza's Mine, Power Plant, Tower. There's another version of this deck out there that runs blue, red, green, or Temur colors. That operates at sorcery speed. The conceit behind this deck is that you're really trying to operate at instant speed. So let's go over some of the choices in the main. First, the lands, 4 Dismal Backwater, 2 Island, 1 Swamp, a Dimir Aqueduct, and a Tranquil Cove. Those are really just to help cast the spells, and we're really heavily biased towards blue. The Tranquil Cove is for a single overrule in the sideboard, which comes in against aggressive decks and burn. In the main deck, this is part of your engine. Impulse is a really good card. I didn't really think too much about it until Anticipate came out, and the more I started to think about Impulse, which is just Anticipate but for one more card, the more I realized how strong it is, especially when you're operating entirely or nearly entirely at instant speed. Expedition Map helps gets your Tron, also fetches colored lands. Prophetic Prism helps you to tap for colored mana, blue or black. We don't have that many double color converted mana costs, but with only, 9 lands that produce colored mana, we are really cutting it close. The goal of this deck is to basically invalidate everything your opponent does, and to that end, we're able to run some slightly underpowered cards for certain matchups like Disfigure or Exclude or Condescend, and by having a really strong endgame that is powered by cards like Mystical Teachings, Gurmag Angler, Capsize, and also Whispers of the Muse, we're able to kind of overcome some of our shortcomings. The deck does have problems against really aggressive decks, which is why you see in the sideboard we're kind of biased against them with cards like, well, the already mentioned Overrule, Bottle Gnomes, Strangling Soot, which can flash back, Diabolic Edict, and a bunch of anti-red cards. But rather than talk about this, I'm actually going to go into tournament practice and play a couple games. Well, by a couple, I mean one, because I don't know how much time I have. The reason I'm going into tournament practice with this deck and not into a tournament is because I don't have time to play. Well, there aren't 8-person tournaments anymore for Pauper, and the 2-person queues are horribly low expected value. And not that I really care about expected value, but the prospect of putting in 2 tickets to test a deck only to basically come out negative value, it's not a good use of my time. While I may not play against something that is 100% tournament style, I'll have a better idea once this is all said and done. And now we wait, which is really the fun part. Usually doesn't take too long. Sometimes it does. Let's talk a little bit more about the deck while we wait. The deck is pretty strong in the control mirror. I've tested it a bunch, actually, against different flavors of Teachings and also some other control decks. And really, once you can get to a point where you're casting Capsize twice a turn or Whispers of Muse twice a turn, there really is not much your opponents can't do. You're just overwhelming with card advantage and tempo, and really, at that point, you can kill with an Omen Speaker. Omen Speaker's in the deck because I wanted something early that could block, but also something that can help set up draws. By operating entirely at instant speed, except for, the Omen Speakers, the Gurmag Anglers, the Prophetic Prisms, your impulses become so much better. In fact, impulse over ponder or preordain, our match is starting, is one of the reasons why I wanted to give this deck a shot. So we are on the draw, which is not a bad place to be with this deck. It's not a great place, depending on what we're up against. If we're up against something aggressive, we really hate being on the draw because it takes us an extra turn to set up. This, however, is a fantastic hand. I have natural Tron on turn 3 if I want it. Otherwise, I can set up my mana and am able to cast Prophetic Prism. This is really just a great hand. And I don't know if our opponent knows they're on. They are. Okay, they're on. At this point, they're probably a mono black control. So what I really want to do is kind of set up my mana engine as soon as possible. So by going Expedition Map, I'm basically signaling I'm on Tron, which is fine. If this person's on mono black control, I have a couple turns to set up my game before I'm really hurt. This is actually a pretty close matchup. It hurts when they can go aggressive. I ran into, let's see, what do they go for? Sun and Blood's fine. Not too worried about that. If they take time to set that up, like, that's a-okay. Because what will probably happen next turn is they'll cast Churning Rats. If they do, what I'll do is I'll just put back Urza's Mine, then crack Expedition Map and fetch a tower and be on our way. I did lose a testing matchup to mono black control earlier, but they were main decking Distress and Duress and really kind of picked apart my hand. Oh, they went for Witches, which tells me they are choked on mana, and that's great for me. Witches is, I don't like Witches in mono black right now. So mono black used to be all about leveraging Chittering Rats and its ability to just decimate an opponent's tempo, and recently it's kind of, I don't want to say perverted, but it's been changed to the point where now it really kind of just cares almost exclusively about trying to resolve a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which is fine, but it's not great. It kind of just takes away from the deck. What's going on? Another Witches. That's a-okay too. If they're going to try and beat me with Witches, that's fine. So I'm actually, the question is here, do I cast Teachings or not? Now I'm going to hold it. Instead, what I'm going to do is play this, crack, and fetch an island. This way I'm in the driver's seat right now. There really is not much my opponent can do. I get an island, and now I have Counterspell up, so I can start countering their plays. Alternatively, I have Impulse, which can let me fetch whatever the hell I damn well please. Oops, pardon my language. Or Teachings that lets me get basically whatever I want. Impulse, which lets me go 4 deep. Let's see. What do they do here? Duress. How do I feel about Duress? I'm actually okay with them. Teachings is still the most powerful card in my hand. I don't know. Did they just draw Swamp Duress? That seems really awkward. But Teachings is the most powerful card in my hand and has Flashback. So unless they Duress my Teachings and then, I don't know, go Choking Sands, which they can't, I'm okay. If they take Counterspell, yeah, which is fine. I just didn't spend mana. They know what I have. Okay. So they're definitely building towards a Grey Merchant kind of thing. So right now I'm actually just going to take out one of their things. Because it's pretty obvious right now that they have Grey Merchant of Asphodel in hand. Otherwise, they probably would not have kept this hand. And then I'm going to Impulse. I think I just take Omen Speaker here. Like, I have more Tron pieces, so it wasn't the best impulse. But basically the point is I'm trying to buy time, and I want to make sure that I'm able to counter their Gray Miniature when it comes down. So, yeah, that's really it. I'm guessing they kept this in because it looked like it would be able to resolve a Gray Merchant really easily. 2, 3, 4 Gray Merchant is pretty good, but we'll see. That's also pretty good. Not going to complain about that. I think, yeah, more mana is better here. Again, the entire conceit of this deck is to operate at instant speed. So if I'm able to go get... Oh, what is he doing? What are they doing? Chittering Rats. Yeah, I'm actually A-okay burning a Exclude on that, because there isn't much else they can do. And it just puts me up so much to be able to do this. And then do it again next turn. It's a pretty good draw. I do have to worry about things like Corrupt. That's fine. Again, I'm generating... You can see how the deck works. You generate this overwhelming mana advantage, and then there really is not much your opponent can do. I'm fine with that. So now I'm actually putting my opponent in a terrible spot, and they don't even know it, because what I'm going to be able to do is Teachings for Capsize and just start going to town. What will end up happening is I will end up starting to bounce all their permanents and keep them off anything. So there's an argument to be made for Teachings. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Teachings for Teachings, so that way I have a Teachings in my graveyard, and then Teachings for Capsize. This way, I still have another tutor, and I still have Capsize. And since they really have no 1 mana instant that can wreck me, this probably is correct. Yes, I don't care. Right now, I'm actually just setting up my lands for the next couple turns. By playing that, by playing the Dismal Backwater, what I'm able to do is have up Condescend, also have up Capsize. Yeah, I'm actually okay with that too. Yeah, what I'm actually going to do here is Edict. No, I can go down to 11. What I'm going to do is Capsize their untapped land. Yeah, that's a dead draw, which is going to happen sometimes with this deck, but Not much I can do. I mean, I run one Doomblade main because it does just hit everything, but sometimes this happens. This is actually pretty good, so I'm actually going to top. Because this figure just takes out. Oh, that's fantastic. Because if they now have a 2-mana removal spell, I can condescend it, stay in this game. Yep. It's probably Chainer's Edict. Yep. I'm okay with that. Counter that for this. I mean, I'm still going to leave top. And I want those because, again, it's more mana, and it's also a Disfigure, which is very good against him right now, or her. Don't mean to presume about gender. So, Okay, so I'm actually going to be in great shape because what I'm going to do is block their Rager. They're going to ping it with the Witches, and then I'm going to ping the Rager. And yep, I'm A-okay with that trade. And yeah, let's see what happens next. Please be Gray Merchant. Please be Gray Merchant. Because if it's Gray Merchant, I'm going just Teachings for a Condescend. Oh, it's Angler. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna Teachings from either Exclude. And then I get to do this and pass the turn. And now I'm actually I get to draw a card. Did I play a land this turn? I did not. So let's do this. And when I'm just going to fetch another tower. Because, again, now I really just want to get into the position of having as much mana as possible. I have to worry about Corrupt and things like that off the top, but other than that, there is not much I have to worry about. Because the MBC, Mono Black Control, does not have many instant speed ways to interact with me. Their removal spells are largely dead. Let's see, what are they going for here? This is almost... Yep. I'm okay with that because I get to do this. And then let's take care of your only creature. Could not have really asked for a better draw right there. Like, I know I'm a little lucky right now to rip that. So this is just a devotion build. And I'm going to do everything I can to stop that from resolving, which is not too much. And let's see, 3. Really happy that I was able to test this against a real deck, and not only a real deck, but a very popular one. Put on bottom, put on top. And now we have a kill condition, which is good for me, bad for them. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to keep up mana because at this point, there really is not. If I can capsize them twice a turn, eventually bad things will happen to them. Yep. Now what's going to happen is they're going to have to start discarding cards to their own hand size. And yeah, they did not want to play anymore. I can't blame them. Let's go to sideboarding. This is, again, a really good matchup for us because we have just the right cards. The cards that are not good really are the cards that are not good are, I mean, clearly it's Doomblade. So Diabolic Edict can come in. Devour Flesh, it's fine. I mean, really, this deck is kind of set up with mono black control in mind. If I could make more space, I'd probably try to find space for Condescend, Exclude. Grim Harvest is going to be doing work here. Disfigure. I can cut 1 Disfigure for... I'm on the draw, so Condescend. If I was on the play, I'd do Exclude. They're going to be bringing in a lot more discard. So actually, I'm okay taking out Omen Speakers too because they don't do a ton. This is not a super aggressive deck, so I think I'm okay doing that. Cutting those 3 for Exclude, Negate, and let me bring Strangling Sid. It's an attrition card. And it takes care of almost everything in their deck aside from Angler, of which they'll have 2, and Merchant. The thing I'm worried about is if they bring in Shinobi, in which case I probably should have brought in some of the left in the Disfigure, but this hand's okay. Not as good as the last one, but I can Impulse into land. If they duress and take my Impulse, it's kind of bad, but that kind of plays into the Angler plan anyway. Oh, they mulliganed. That's bad. Drawing 2 Anglers is pretty bad. Let me open up graveyards because that's going to matter. Yeah, drawing 2 Anglers is pretty terrible. But they are not doing anything. I just realized how great Impulse is against Chittering Rats because it lets you bottom a card. Okay, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to cast Chittering Rats. Okay, I did not need this card anyway. I will put it on the bottom of my library. Thank you. I will absolutely do this. And now I'm going to Impulse and get that card right back. Impulse is so good. I know I'm trading Impulse for their Chittering Rats ability, but I will take that every day of the week. Yep, and then I will bottom these. And yeah, so the plan here is to counter whatever they try to cast with Exclude if it's a creature. If not, so what I'm guessing is going to happen here is there's going to be a Shinobi. I mean, that's what I would do. Or not. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually just going to get that out of here now because I don't want to deal with it ever. I was holding that up for Okiba Gang Shinobi because that card is very, very good against me, but they did not have it, so I'll take it. Go for Gray Merchant, go for Gray Merchant. Oh, this is fun. This is just fun. If I don't get a Rage Quit, I might be upset. Oh, that's just not fair. I mean, I am playing blue cards, so I'll take it, but going Exclude into Mystical Teachings, there aren't too many formats where that's fun. Oh, this is going to be great. So trigger on the stack and Devour Flesh. Now, I probably should use Devour Flesh earlier, but that's fine. So basically what I'm doing is I'm letting him gain 4 life anyway, or her gain 4 life anyway, and just taking their Gray Merchant off the board. I probably should have used Devour Flesh on the Chittering Rat since I had both in hand, but that was a mistake on my part. And now they're in a point where they're never really going to be able to resolve a spell again. If they tap low, I can Mystical Teachings for Condescend. If they don't, I get to do all sorts of other things. Yeah, I am actually going to snap counter that. Actually, I'm not. They can take Counterspell or Mystical Teachings, and I will be fine either way. I mean, yes, they'll know what's in my hand, but there isn't much they can do about that. Duress is actually pretty bad, because normally they're going to take a Counterspell. If they take Mystical Teachings, you're kind of okay with that, because they're trading one of their cards for half of yours. They really have no good choice here. And what are they going to do? Take Mystical Teachings, let me flash it back? Yeah, there isn't really much they can do. I mean, that's the right play. It stinks for them, but it's the right play. And I just saved 2 mana on their Counterspell. I gave away some information, but I'm okay with that. Sure, play your witches. One, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what I'm actually going to do is get Whispers. I think Whispers is the play here because I'm not so far ahead that I'm... But now I can just start, netting cards. Sometimes I get mana 2. Fantastic. And I won't lie, that was probably a very greedy go-get of Whispers. Very greedy. But Whispers is so much fun. And it did not matter. I win. So, that was kind of awesome. Let's go back and take a look at the deck. So yeah, you kind of saw what this deck is supposed to do. I mean, that was basically a textbook matchup. Mono Black Control is one of the most popular decks right now, and you could see they really, once you asserted control, they were almost helpless. Eventually, what I would have gotten was Grim Harvest, which would have just unless they had something like Bojuka Bog, which is a possibility, made their life incredibly difficult. However, one of the nice things about this deck is you can always target yourself with Diabolic Edict to get your Bojuka Bog back if you have a creature in play. So yeah, expect to ride above this deck sometime soon, but it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Keep slinging comments. Bye.